Hello again, I am Blunty. I woke this morning to a phenomenally interesting and new product phenomenon. Too many phenomenons in that sentence. Anyway, it's spelled like this, it's pronounced Ouya, and it's a new gaming console. Yeah, that's right, a new gaming console, and it's not from Nintendo, and it's not from Microsoft, and it's not from Sony. It's brand new. It spins around the concept of turning what you think of when you think of console gaming these days completely on its head. It's trying to inspire innovation. It's trying to push creativity and experimentation and make it all cheap and easy to access, both for the end user and for the game developers.
The console business as it is today is completely closed to the independent developer.
The process overhead for console development is really just too much for us.
There's a lot of hurdles for developers to get games onto the television. Developing is extremely expensive. I love the television and I want those games on the television.
The whole thing orbits around an open source philosophy, Android 4.0, and a bunch of people on board with it and backing it and investing in it are people who know what the hell they're doing when it comes to gaming and product design and all that kind of stuff. There is a serious team behind this doing serious things with serious intents of having lots of fun.
We wanted to make a great product. I went out to find the best people that can do it, and that's Eve Behar and the Fuse Project.
Over the years, we've worked on a lot of projects that take a certain technology and make it available to many. I mean, the $100 laptop is one, and the Jambox, for example.
And best of all, every developer who develops a game for the Ouya is under the condition that at least some of the game must be free to play. That's right. Every single game developed for this, there must be free gaming experience on board with that, whether that means getting a free demo and then paying to unlock the full game, or maybe the full game is free and you pay to unlock extra items or weapons or maps or whatever, however the game revolves around.
It's an inexpensive game console for gamers. All the games are free to try. Anybody that wants to develop a game for television, we allow them the ability to do that.
It's packing the grunt of the Tegra 3 chip, so it does have plenty of power sitting there behind it. Have you seen some of the games running on Tegra 3 hardware? They look phenomenal. I mean, not just phenomenal for a phone or for a tablet, but just phenomenally good games. They look shiny and pretty. And I know graphics aren't everything, but graphics are a big part of it these days. You've got to immerse yourself in the game world and all that sort of stuff. But you might be thinking, Tegra 3, that seems kind of underpowered given the power of even the current generation of console gaming on TV. Maybe it'll wind up being like one of the smartphone things where you have to upgrade it every year or two to keep pace. Isn't that going to be a bad thing? It does only cost $100. Oh, I'm undecided on that one. The controller, which is one of the most important things about a gaming console, the controller has to be good, otherwise you're just not going to enjoy the experience, is looking pretty good too. It looks vaguely like an Xbox controller at this point in stage. It's going to have the face buttons, it's going to have the triggers, it's going to have the dual analog sticks, very, very important. It's going to have a D-pad, and it's going to have a touchpad on it as well for sort of direct ports of sort of phone-centric type of games. You can use a touchpad, like Angry Birds or whatever, if you want. One of those morons who think that's a fun game. It's not. You're an idiot. You don't know what fun means if you like Angry Birds, frankly. I'm getting off topic.
We really focus a lot on what gamers are looking for. Precise controls, tactility, right sizing.
And they're making it really easy to root right out of the box. If you're an Android user, you know what rooting means. In Australia, it means something kind of dirty, but we won't get into that because it's very confusing for a tech head to say, I'm rooting my phone. It means something very, very different in Australia. Just trust me on that. They're not putting it into a big sealed box that you have to pry open with little special little clips. They're not putting any security screwdrivers or anything inside it. They're not gluing anything in place. You can open it, you can own it, you can hack it, you can do whatever you like with it. They're making it super easy to make, for anyone out there to make whatever add-ons they want, different kinds of controllers. You can make a keyboard on there, of course, because Android supports that out of the box. So if you're playing games that require a keyboard or you want a text type or whatever you're doing, that's all there. It's open.
It's open for hackers that want to tweak the box and make it their own. This is a big undertaking. Effectively, we're trying to disrupt an established industry. It takes a lot of guts and courage. Well, I wasn't a female, I'd say big balls.
Well, yeah, it can be easily rooted, but won't that lead to lots of piracy, which will put developers off publishing their games on this Android gaming device, because that's already happening in the real world, in the regular smartphone universe of Android gaming. The piracy is just so rampant because it's easy to do on Android, because Android is so open.
Big balls.
And of course, being Android, you can bet your ass that gaming won't be all it's going to be doing, because it is Android and it is open source and anyone can do what they want with it and you can root it, and it's very, very easy to imagine that it's going to be like a Google TV type device very, very quickly as soon as it hits the world. There's going to be lots of media playing apps and browsers and all kinds of stuff that is aside from gaming. It is a gaming machine at its core. It's being designed from the ground up to be a gaming machine, but
big balls.
I'll bet London to a brick it'll do way more than that the instant it hits anybody's hands out there in the real world. And also, won't being so open and hackable encourage lots of cheaters in online games and just ruin the whole online competitive gaming experience for everybody? That's another problem they've got to figure out how to solve, because you know it will happen and it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. Unless you're like me and you don't play online that much, because a lot of people who play online competitive games are dickbags I'd rather not have call me a fag over the internet.
Big balls, big balls, big balls.
I know, speaking for myself, beyond the Android gaming experience that comes with it out of the box, so to speak, I'll be using mine as a classic games emulation machine, a classic arcade emulation machine. It's going to be super easy to do that. It's got more than enough grunt to do a whole lot of emulation. And that's all well and good, but can't you just connect most smartphones and tablets these days directly to your TV and use a regular gaming console via Bluetooth or whatnot to actually do the same kind of thing? Well, yes you can, but then again, that's not a dedicated gaming experience either, and it's, 6 one, half dozen the other. Is it worth it? It's only $100.
Balls.
I think the Ouya just broke a new dawn in what home console means. It's going to be very interesting to watch how this impacts the market in general, whether it influences the way Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft approach their next generation of consoles as well. Think of it kind of like the Pandora. Gamers out there, you remember the Pandora, that little open source handheld Linux operated gaming machine thing? Think of it like that, but made by people who actually know what they're doing and can get a product developed and to market without making colossal, years-long, complete clusterfuck of the whole thing and vomiting up something it's just worthless at the end result. Interesting, but worthless.
Balls. Now
don't start hating me, all you 13 Pandora fanboys who are still out there somewhere. I like the Pandora as a concept, but you have to admit, the whole it was a clusterfuck. It really was a clusterfuck. I invested a couple of hours after it launched. I spotted it and went, that's brilliant, I want in on that. Click, Kickstarter, funded, pledged, whatever. And about 18 hours later, they had raised $2 million in funding on day one. There has been phenomenal, huge reaction to the Kickstarter campaign. $2 million in less than a day for an Android gaming console. It costs $100. But it only has 1 gig of RAM. Is that going to be enough? That doesn't seem like a lot. Well, then again, the Xbox 360 only has 512 megabytes of RAM, and that doesn't seem to be holding it back too badly, because you've got to remember that gaming isn't a multitasking process, so wads and wads of RAM isn't really that essential. 1 gigabyte should be enough, but nice to have 2. So yeah, there are a lot of pros and cons, but I'm seeing more pros than cons at the moment, and for $100 it's not that huge of an investment to see what happens with it. It's kind of exciting, I think. So thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time. Do yourself a favour, hit up the link in the description of this video, go over to the Kickstarter page, watch their presentation video about it, and then click one of the funding option buttons, because you know it's the smart thing to do.
We have a prototype and it works. We'll have all the game genres you love. Shooters, platformers, sports, and RPGs. Big balls. We'll have games from major game publishers and indies too. We'll have a full store of games, all free to play. Minecraft is going to be on it, and Twitch TV, so you can watch StarCraft and League of Legends. So what do you guys think? Is it underpowered for what is essentially a home gaming console instead of a portable, pocketable device thing? Is piracy going to be an issue because it is so open source and easily hackable? Is cheating going to be a big problem because it's all open source and hackable? Is it going to be one of those things that's going to be just annoying? You have to, rip out your memory card and pop it in a new device every year or so to keep pace with the latest technology, because it is currently, this generation's technology, instead of trying to make it big and expensive and huge like regular gaming consoles tend to be. They try and strive out there as far as they can be, and it costs you like $700 to get one, and then it lasts for 5 or 10 years. Well, this isn't going to last for 5 or 10 years, but then it's only $100. I keep coming back to that. What are you going to do? What do you think?